Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Erika and Sasmita from SMA Negeri 1 Stojian. In this occasion, I would like to tell you the story of ANDE LUMUT. A long time ago, there were two large kingdoms in the East Java region, named the Kingdom of Jenggala and the Kingdom of Kediri. The Kingdom of Jenggala was led by King Jayanegara and the Kingdom of Kediri was led by King Jayangrana. To unite the two countries and avoid war, the two kingdoms established a marriage bond between Panji Asmarabangun, the son of the King of Jenggala, and Dewi Kartaji, the daughter of the King of Kediri. One day, the Jenggala kingdom was attacked by an enemy. During the battle, Dewi Kartaji fled from the palace. She disguised herself as a village girl and lived with a widow with three daughters named Kenting Abang, Kenting Ijo, and Kenting Biru. Dewi Kartaji was adopted as a child of this family and given the name Kenting Kuning. But Kenting Kuning was not treated well. Every day she was told to do housework such as cooking, washing, and cleaning the house. Her three stepsisters were very lazy. They usually just told her to do their chores. Eventually, the Jenggala kingdom was saved. Panji Asmarabangun had succeeded in defeating his enemy who attacked him. But he was sad because Dewi Kartaji had left the palace. He was determined to look for her. After a while, a bodyguard reported that he had met a girl who looked like Dewi Kartaji in a village. Panji Asmarabangun went to the Dadapan village. This village was located next to the village where Kenting Kuning lived. He lived in Mbok Randa's house, became Mbok Randa's adopted child, and disguised himself as ANDE LUMUT, who was looking for a wife. The news about ANDE LUMUT looking for a wife spread around the village. Kenting Abang, Kenting Ijo, and Kenting Biru dressed as beautifully as they could to propose to ANDE LUMUT. Hey, Kenting Kuning, you don't have to come with us. Just stay at home and wash the clothes, comment Kenting Biru. They departed and Kenting Kuning went to the river to wash the clothes right away. Suddenly, a crane came and gave her a whip. Go and propose to ANDE LUMUT so you can meet Panji Asmarabangun. Bring this whip, said the crane. Then Kenting Kuning rushed to Dadapan village. Meanwhile, her mother and three adopted sisters arrived at the riverside. They were confused because none of the boats were visible and there were no bridges to cross the vast river. Suddenly, a giant crab named Yuyu Kangkang appeared. The crab offered to cross the river on the condition they had to kiss the crab. They agreed to that condition. One by one, they climbed to the Yuyu Kangkang's backs and crossed the river. Moments later, Kenting Kuning arrived at the riverside. She also met Yuyu Kangkang and offered to help her cross the river with the same condition. But Kenting Kuning rejected the requirement and forced Yuyu Kangkang to help her without his conditions met. Yuyu Kangkang didn't want to help her. Kenting Kuning lost her patience. She pulled out the whip and struck the river. Immediately, the river water receded. Yuyu Kangkang was scared, and finally he agreed to help Kenting Kuning cross the river. Her mother and 3 stepsisters arrived first at Mbok Randa's house. One by one, Kenting Kuning, Kenting Abang, Kenting Biru, and Kenting Ijo showed their beauty to ANDE LUMUT. However, none of them was chosen because they had kissed Yuyu Kangkang. A few moments later, Kenting Kuning arrived at Mbok Randa's house. ANDE LUMUT chose Kenting Kuning as his wife because he knew that Kenting Kuning was Dewi Sekartaji, and she was the only woman who had not kissed Yuyu Kangkang. ANDE LUMUT revealed his disguise and told everyone that he was Panji Asmara Bangun. Finally, Panji Asmara Bangun and Dewi Sekartaji were reunited, and they invited Mbok Randa to stay at the palace as say thanks. In the end, they lived happily ever after. Okay, that's all the story of ANDE LUMUT. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.